GPUs, various TCUs, as well as the various experiential features that go into the HMI module of the vehicles. So I'd say the most interesting part about this job is having the chance to explore so many cutting edge technologies and inculcating those in production intent feature designs, having the product ownership, and doing all of this, keeping the user experience at the heart of it all.
Okay. That's a really interesting job, I must say. So, has this job always been the dream job for you? And if not, I would like to know why not. And what is the definition of a dream job for you?
For me, I mean, as you can see by my past experience, right, I've always been inclined towards something where I'm not just coding. I am involved with the hardware aspect as well. So, which is the reason why I actually applied when I was applying for my master's applications. I applied a lot of places for robotics engineering, as well as electrical and computer engineering. So, uh, based on the options that I had, I chose the best possible option to go to Rutgers with an ECE degree. Uh, the best part, I would say, through like from that point on in the journey was I got to choose what all courses I wanted to do. Uh, so I like when you go for your masters, right? Most of the universities will offer you a plethora of courses. Let's say 45 courses, out of which you have to choose only 10, right? So you can basically tailor make your own master's degree based on the courses that you take up and the projects that you undertake. So yeah, talking about the dream job, I always wanted to be connected with the hardware aspect as well as the software aspect, and I think this exactly fits the purpose of this particular job, where I get to work on software development, keeping in mind the vehicle electrical architecture. So it has a lot of designing, system design, control systems, and so on.
Okay, that was nice to know.
Mhm.
Why did you choose electrical and computer engineering for your masters? And what are the various job opportunities that this field opens up? And would you suggest some work experience for the students before going for their masters?
Sure. So the kind of roles that you want to work for after completion of your degree actually starts at the time of your specialization selection process. So as I said, right, based on the courses and the projects that you do during your masters, you can get into various domains with an ECE degree. It can be anything from embedded system development, network engineering, software development, hardware engineering, VLSI, just to name a few. You can even segue into data analytics, data science, and so on. Uh, I'd say for job opportunities, one of the most important things that you should do is every month you need to update your resumes based on what you're working on. And universities also have these career development centers which guide you and help you to tailor your resume according to the fit that you are, right? And according to the jobs that you're looking for. So you can't send the same resume over to, let's say, a purely software based company compared to a company that works more on the hardware and the software integration aspect. So also, like some of the side notes would be check your department bulletin boards to see any tabletop meet and greets with various companies that are approaching or career fairs. And before going in and talking to the recruiter, I'd say you should do your due diligence to check what are the projects going on in the company and what are the roles that you would be interested in. Uh, and when you share your resume with them, you should also make sure that you connect with them on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a tool that you should use extensively when you're applying for jobs. Uh, it's good to create a network, uh, follow up with them, send them thank you emails for interacting with you, and then if they feel that you fit the role, based on the communication that you had for the 10 minutes or 15 minutes of interaction in the career fair or the meet and greet, they might actually contact you back and ask you to apply for one of the particular roles.
And in terms of work experience, would you suggest students to take some work experience before masters?
Right. So if you're thinking just about master's admissions, it does not play that much of a role, the work experience. But as I said, for your job applications, you that you start putting in your second years of masters, it does factor in. So for me personally, I was a fresher. I just had 1 year work experience with Reliance Geo, and it wasn't as significant as the companies would like, but still based on that 1 year work experience, I was grilled so much in multiple interviews that it actually establishes the point how important work experience is. Having said that, it's hard for freshers compared to experienced professionals getting a job, but you can also during your masters, you can basically volunteer in various learning opportunities. For example, I volunteered and worked as a research trainee in two different labs in my department during my masters. I got to work on some amazing projects. Like one of them was an NSF-funded underwater drone project where we were trying to transmit live video stream wirelessly uh, through a drone back to the shore. So based on this, the work that I was doing in that as a research trainee was mainly focused on software design and implementation of the product, which really helped me showcase my abilities as a software designer and a developer in all of my interviews.
Okay. So my next question for you is, what challenges have you faced while studying abroad, or in your career as well? And how did you overcome them? What advice would you like to give to students who also plan to move abroad for their higher studies?
I'd say feeling homesick is one of the most commonly faced issues amongst international students. Uh, Based on the location of your university, winters will be very cold and dull because mostly you'll be trapped inside your houses and will be doing nothing. Uh, Especially in times like these when we have like a pandemic going on for the past 1.5 year, universities are having online courses, they have lockdowns. You do not travel a lot, you have isolations. It's very human to get depressed in such times where you like go into a cocoon and don't want to socially interact with anyone, right? So I'd say maintaining your mental health is as important as doing all the other stuff, studies, physical health, and so on. You should try to talk to your parents, relatives, friends, colleagues, whosoever you get a chance to. And if not everyone, at least have a select 2 to 3 people that you are sharing with. And you shouldn't ever hesitate to put your studies on a back burner. I'd say it's just a journey. Just enjoy the journey, be it your bachelor's, be it your master's. Just meet new people, pick up some new hobby, learn a musical instrument, and just enjoy college. I can't stress that more.
And in terms of your career, what have been the major challenges so far? Can we know that, please?
I'd say upskilling is a very big process when you get into the industry. So I started working as a Java developer in my first job after my master's, and then when I switched to Ford, I got in touch with technologies like Python, gRPC, cloud integrations, GCP, AWS, Azure. So upskilling is definitely like one of the key things that you need to keep doing even while you are working. Some jobs may or may not require that, but you definitely want to keep getting those extra bonus points for your next job applications.
Okay, that was really insightful.
Mhm.
What skills would or habits would you recommend students to start working upon, and some habits that they should start adopting so that they have a good career ahead and they always have an upper hand over their competitors, and also to stay motivated throughout their journey.
Right. I'd say first and foremost, work on your communication skills. I mean, right away from your SOPs, you're talking to the admissions committee. Once you're in your university, you're talking to your professors, you'll be talking to your colleagues, your recruiters, interviewers. You have to have the ability to put your point across. Uh, sometimes a lot of students try to fake it and they get nervous and it just goes for a toss. I'd say even if you're trying to do that, you're going overboard sometimes, just be good at it. And apart from communication skills, I'd say networking is one of the major things that you need to focus on. As I said already, LinkedIn, make it your best friend. Connect with your recruiters, seniors, professors, alumni, and just use LinkedIn and reach out to 100 people. Maybe 10 of them respond, and you can make something out of those 10 responses, right? Apart from that, as I said, like upskilling, try to incorporate any latest technologies, be it cloud, blockchain, data analytics, optimizations on DSA, all of these in your projects. For example, let's say if you're creating a web application or writing code, make sure you know the process, how to, or uh, if you know the process, it's good enough. If you can get some hands-on experience on CI/CD or how to deploy those web applications onto, let's say, different cloud services or a server, it would be really great for your interview process.
Yeah. You have gotten an award from the Ford Motor Company. So how does it feel?
It feels very rewarding, I'd say. So the entire year you'll be working, slogging. You might not have that much retribution through the year. Your managers might be like adding on more responsibilities to you, but at the end of the year, when you get that recognition award, it's really that's rewarding.
And you have shifted a lot of jobs. Uh, so how do you decide on changing those jobs? Like you see in terms of growth, or you see in terms of the opportunities that you're getting, or maybe the
Mhm.
work culture. So what has been a major factor in deciding the jobs that you take up?
I'd say yes, work culture plays a very important role because you need to maintain your uh, sanity when you're working. If you're working 9 to 5, 7, like 5 days a week through the year, you're doing the same thing, you're not learning anything new. I'd say it's time you change your job. So whenever you have a growth opportunity in terms of, it can be monetary growth opportunity, it can be an upskill on the current role that you are in, or it can be an opportunity to learn something new, I'd say you should go for it.
Yeah. Um, okay, so my next question for you is you have where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'd say uh, I'm like building towards it. Currently, I am doing 80% of development and 20% of designing. But eventually, I want to have that ownership of a product. So I want to be a product owner in the future, where I am equally focusing on the development aspect and the delivery aspect, and also incorporating how this product affects the business. How much money am I generating for my company?
Okay, I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And what project did you make while you were there in the robotics club for which your team had won a prize?
You're talking about the Father Agnel's
Yeah,
robotics,
yeah.
right? So as part of the ARC, the Agnel's Robotic Council, we used to participate in this event. I'm sure you guys still do, in Robocon, which is held in Pune. So that year, our motto was to build two badminton playing robots. One would be a server and the other would be a player. And basically, starting from scratch up, uh, building those robots, having the design, coding everything, staying late at nights in the in the university for, like, let's say 2 a.m., 3 a.m. at night, and then finally getting that award in the end, going to Pune and performing that good. It was really an amazing experience, I'd say.
Okay. I have one last question for you, which is not related to any job or any career opportunities as such,
Okay.
but it's about from where your engineering day started, like Father Agnel. So, how was
Mhm.
your experience being a student at FCRIT, and what message would you like to give to the students?
Okay. Um, to be honest, I used to find certain things like mandatory assembly, sitting through every class, maintaining a 75 to 80% attendance record, parent-teacher meetings, like seriously, pretty erratic for an undergrad university. Uh, I'm sure we used to, and even you guys find a way around it. But trust me when I say this, the discipline that the college is trying to enforce on you is actually expected from you when you enter into your higher education, when you graduate from your class 12th and you come into a bachelor's program. These are the things that you should already have in mind, and that goal is should be set. So what Father Alan is trying to do is like inculcate or mold you as a person and make you disciplined. And as far as the message goes, I'd say you all are blessed to have such competent and supportive professors in your department. Just make use of the resources that the college is providing you. Talk to your professors about anything. I mean, they are friendly enough to talk about anything, and literally anything. You can talk about your relationships, your family problems, your financial problems, and they're pretty cool human beings actually, and they do empathize with you, and they can go over the top to help you out.
Thank you so much for that wonderful message. We with this we come to the end of this interview, and now I would like to open this platform for everyone in the meeting to ask their doubts or questions. Yes, Urankar, sorry, Jonathan, you can go ahead. I think you raised your hand, Jonathan. If there's anyone else who wants to ask anything, can just unmute and go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes, I can
Yes.
hear you.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
I want to ask you that we are in like stage wherein we are preparing for many of the competitive examinations,
Hmm.
and so we are doing our college thing. So we have to prepare for our end sem exams, and also we have to work on our assignment project. So how
Right.
do we manage the time of preparing for the competitive examinations also and doing this work also?
You need to strike a balance. It's very hard being in such a rigorous four-year bachelor's program, especially the Mumbai University curriculum. Uh, I mean, in my personal opinion, they teach you things that you might not use, but you might feel that they don't really matter in the industry when you go in, but actually they create a base or a foundation. So you can't be good at everything. Just play your strengths, I'd say, and take out some time. If you are planning to go for your masters, if you know that you have to prepare for GRE, take out some time in the day, complete your assignments, complete your projects. Sometimes you can ask your teachers for some leeway, maybe give you a week's extension or something like that. And make sure that GRE is something that you are also focusing on apart from your studies.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Um, Anyone else who wants to ask any questions? You can put your questions in the chat box as well.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
I would like to ask that how was your experience at Geo and was it helpful at Ford?
I joined Geo just for 1 year, and I was in one of their bond teams, which is basically a user experience team. So our job there was to like handle multiple products and get to know the bugs, mostly issue resolution and issue identification. So that basically created a very critical thinking aspect to everything that I used to undertake from there on. So yeah, that definitely helped in my job. Not particularly in my master's, because that was just 1 year, and maybe if I would have stayed any longer, I would have gotten into one of the product teams and worked hands-on with the product. But yeah, for the job, I'd say the critical thinking was something that was inculcated through the geo experience.
Okay, so thank you.
Meenal, I can ask question.
Yes, I'm sure. I was just going to ask you.
Prince, I just wanted to know, no, here everybody has a feeling that even if you are a EXTC engineer, finally everybody ends up in a software coding. So is that
Uh-huh.
true? I mean, they should only focus, or even if they are not so good at software programming, they should work on it because finally they are going to end up in the software. Is it true?
No, that's not at all true. I'd say if your goal is to get into software, then yes, you need to start working on coding. Uh, so we used to have a course, OPM, I guess. I don't know if you still have that, but that would be a good starting point where you start learning coding from scratch, and then eventually you can start doing lead code, start solving problems, getting the data structures and analysis things. But if your goal is not software development, then there are so many opportunities. Like you can get into VLSI, you can get into embedded systems, validation engineering, there's networking, telecommunications. So most of these fields do not require you to know coding. I'd say uh, even if you get into networks engineering, you might need to know some softwares. For example, Linux is one of the important softwares, and Selenium testing is another important software that they use. But apart from that, it's not that coding intensive. These other domains that you can get into as an EXTC engineer.
But do you think whatever options you mentioned, these are available only abroad?
Um, I'd say in India they do have telecommunication openings. I think Jio, Airtel, all of these companies have these openings, but they definitely do not come into the universities to hire. You might have to go outside and apply. Uh, Apart from that, even for your VLSI embedded, these opportunities are available in India. I did interview for one of these companies called Meko, which is in Mahape, I guess. So yeah, there are so many opportunities. You just need to look for it. It's just because the software market is so vast and so widespread. That's the only thing that we see. But apart from that, if we start applying from outside to these uh, to these targeted roles, then you can definitely get in and make a career out of it.
Okay, that's great because now, like the way you mentioned OOPM, now in the syllabus they have a skill lab. They have the particular, extra course for doing all this software. But
Okay,
as you know, there are some students who don't have that thing for doing a software coding. So
right,
I know your university have started at least basic. Everybody should learn. So that is the reason I asked you a question.
right. Ma'am, I don't know if you remember Apurva from our batch.
Yeah,
Uh,
I do remember.
right.
Huh.
So she did her master's in networking, and currently she's working for Hughes Network. So I'd say for all the interviews that she gave, none of the interviews required any coding experience. So it's really what you want to do uh, that basically decides how much coding you have to learn.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Payal wants to ask something, I think.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, sir. Sir, can you suggest a few good fields of study like which an EXTC engineer can pursue for their MS program?
Um, it it really depends on what you want to do after your master's. How do you want to use that degree? So let's say if you're interested in data science, data analytics, then there are master's courses specifically for data analytics. If you're interested towards some business orientation as well as the engineering aspect, there are some courses that they do not call it MS, they call it MBS, Masters of Business and Science. You can go for those courses as well. uh, if you, let's say, want to go into computer science, you can go for MS and CS. If you want to go for big data, you have courses for that as well. You just need to go through the list of universities that are available and what courses they are offering. So currently, I believe there are certain universities that are also offering battery cell packaging courses. So especially for the automotive domain, because I am in that domain, I'd say uh, the electrification revolution is it has already started, and people are looking for those specific engineers with those specializations. So battery packaging could be another good stream to go into. And then you could also go into automotive engineering for your masters. There are some universities that offer that as well. So it really depends on what you want to do with your masters, and then searching and going through these university websites and the courses that they offer.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. That was really helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Siley, you can go ahead.
Yes. Hello, sir. How many hours we should dedicate to GRE preparations in one day to score good score? Like,
Mhm.
how many hours we should study daily so that we will score good to maintain a consistency?
Prince, please tell first that they should complete all the assignments and write up, and then. I'm so sorry, Siley.
That's that's very true what ma'am said. I mean, maybe Anita ma'am can give you a leeway of around a week to
No, no,
submit
no.
your assignments,
I'll
but
take back
others.
my no, Prince. I'll take back my answer. Please answer the. I mean, how do you manage? That is what they want to know.
Okay. Okay. So what I used to do is I used to dedicate all my 0 hours. So 0 hours would be all the time that I spent traveling from my place to the university, from my university back to my home. Maybe if some of you join some coaching for GRE, you can study in between that duration as well, or complete your assignments. So it's basically just managing time, and I think 2 hours per day, or maybe some days 1 hour per day, is good enough for getting a good score in GRE. One of the things as engineers that we have an advantage over other GRE applicants are that the mathematics section is pretty easy for us. What we struggle with is the English section. So I'd say focus on that more as compared to the other section. Uh, Other than that, you should be good with 1 to 2 hours per day.
Thank you, sir. Also, I have one more question.
Sure.
As we know that studying abroad is pretty expensive, so how
Mhm.
did you manage your expenses? Like
Uh,
any scholarship or monthly expenses at least?
okay. So once you get into your university, so basically to start off, your tuition fee, you have to pay that. You can go for there are so many banks that offer loans. So you can take up a loan in your name, you can put your parents as guarantors or something like that. And then once you have that loan, it's all about repaying the loan in the next, say, 2, 3, 5 years. So once you join a university in the US, they offer you like many jobs on campus, off campus, and some of the jobs are also online. So like in India, most of the professors will do all the grading themselves, right? In US, the professors do not do the grading themselves. They rely on, let's say, GAs, TAs, or some graders. So that is one of the fields that international students go into. Talk to the professor, build your rapport, and search for a grader job, or maybe if they can offer a TA job, teaching assistantship, that helps a lot, because the difference between a grader and a TA is that the TA will have a lot of additional benefits along with the stipend, which will be way higher than a grader. A grader will be just a regular pay employee. Let's say you'll be earning $8 to $12 per hour, a max of $20, a max of 20 hours per week. And the same time, a TA would be earning say $4,500 per semester. So that helps you reduce a lot of your costs when it comes to your living expenses, your rent. Sometimes even your tuition fees is waived off if you are a TA under a good professor. So that is one of the fields that people go into. You can go to different labs, talk to their professors, and see if they have any research assistants available during your summer vacations and your spring breaks. You can also volunteer for labs because the PhD programs go on no matter if you have spring break or not. So that's one time when there are less students on campus and you will have more opportunities to go in and work as an RA. Apart from that, there are different dining services where you can go and do your hourly jobs. So there's a lot of opportunity once you join a university based on how big it is to basically earn some money and then basic make out your at least your living expenses is something that you can manage by yourself.
Thank you, sir.
Aryan, you can go ahead.
Yeah, good morning. So,
Hi,
like,
good morning, Arun.
I wanted to ask a question, like, what would be an ideal SOP for you?
An ideal SOP would have a very good story, I'd say. A story starting from why do you want to do a master's degree to uh, why this specific degree, what will this specialization help you with, what has your experience been in that field that you're trying to do your master's in, and how would you tie that back to your bachelor's. So it basically has to be a full circle and a well fed story that appeals to the admissions committee. There are a lot of links available online where you can search how to like some sample SOPs, or uh, if some of your friends join some of these coachings like College Bond, or I forgot the name. There are a couple of more. They also provide some sample SOPs of students who've already been there, who've submitted their SOPs, and what were the colleges that they got into. So take those, make your own story out of it. Just use that as a reference, and I'd say you'd be good.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Ankit, you can go ahead.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, Ankit.
Yeah, actually, you mentioned about the job experience. So
Mhm.
nowadays, like there are many colleges which has the co-op culture. So like where we work half time and we study half time. So like, does the co-op
Right.
culture makes up for the job experience in masters?
Yeah, definitely. Be it any co-op, be it any summer internship, winter internship, spring internship, anything that you do during your master's adds up to your resume and your skill set when you go into a job. So basically, you have more points to talk about, more things that they can grill you on, and maybe you can impress them based on the experience that you had in that particular company. Most of the students who get internships or co-ops, their main aim is to convert that into a full time, to get an offer from them at the end of their co-op or at the end of their internship. So that's, I think, where your communication skills and networking play a very key role. and obviously how you perform during your co-op.
Thank you. Also, what would be the best time? Like most people say that fall would be the best time, and spring doesn't have that much admissions. Like so, like
I'd say from the experiences of me and my friends over here, fall has a better advantage over spring, because even when it comes to your H1B, which you will need in future if you want to stay back, you get one less chance when it comes to spring. When you're in fall, you get one more chance. So apart from that, most of the job opportunities and openings open up in the duration of September to November, and then it goes on a break during the holidays, and then again starts up again in January up until March. So I'd say being a fall student is very advantageous compared to a spring student.
thank you.
We have many more questions lined up, I guess. Siddesh, you can go ahead.
So good morning, everyone. I wanted to ask that how the softwares for vehicle are implemented. Like, how does the working goes on for the vehicle?
So, as you may know, like for the vehicles, you have so many different ECUs within the vehicle, the electric control unit, you have the telematics control unit, you have the command control center inside the vehicle, and every company has their own electrical architecture. But something that's common between all vehicles is that they have a gateway that is used to communicate from a cloud instance onto the vehicle instance, which would be your edge device. So for any software that goes into the vehicle, there are two ways to do it. One is to flash it. That is, you take your vehicle to the dealership or the service center, and they'll flash the new software onto your HMI display or your module, basically. And the other is all the over-the-air updates. So over-the-air updates are generally not available in all OEMs. Having said that, Tesla is doing a really great job with the OTA strategy that they have built, and Ford is building towards it. So yeah, those are the two ways that you can get your software into the vehicle. And other than that, when it comes to software, what goes in the software is a lot of things. I mean, you need to make sure that it's encrypted. You need to make sure that there are the proper keys and the cryptographic securities are foolproof, so that no one else, because now the vehicles have modems in them, right? So anyone from the outside world can connect to your vehicle and basically hack your vehicle. So that's why security is a very big concern when it comes to these uh, these softwares that go into the vehicle. So yeah, security would be one, and then obviously the code that goes in. You need to make sure that the code is optimized. And one of the key things that I learned after joining Ford is whatever code you're building, you need to make sure that the footprint is very low, because on the vehicle you won't have terabytes of data, terabytes of memory, right? To store so many different softwares. You have to make your code as small as possible, as optimized as possible. And there are various techniques to do that, like let's say garbage collection could be one of them. Does that answer your question?
So, thank you so much.
Um, Navneet, you can ask your question.
Okay, thank you. So my question is related to the master's program. So if I wanted to
Mhm.
enter the defense or space related sectors in India after my master's, so which specialization in which field will be the most helpful?
Uh, it depends on what kind of role that you want to get into. If you want to get into the cybersecurity role, definitely a master's in cybersecurity or network engineering with a specialization in cybersecurity is very good. If you want to, let's say, get into the control systems domain, let's say HAL designs so many uh, rocket launchers and basically design configurations with L&T, right? So I'd say getting a master's, then coming back to India and working in India might not be a very good ROI, a very good investment in terms of ROI, because you'll be spending upwards of say $50,000 during your masters, right? And then coming back to India, you might not be making that much money when it like at the beginning just to pay off your loan, right? So I'd say you get your master's degree, work in the US till you have your F1 visa or your OPT, and then if you want to extend it, you can extend it with an H1B or something like that. Pay off your loan, and then you can definitely decide on coming back to India and then working for the defense sectors. Also keep in mind that you cannot join the defense or any federal government agencies in the United States being an international student. You have to be a US citizen. So there are very hard and strict rules when it comes to security clearances. So you might have to like think over it
I think he
as
said
to.
you want to ISRO, no, Navneet? If
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
not wrong, I heard he said, yeah, he you want to join ISRO, you said, no? Indian Defense Government.
Yes, ma'am. Indian Defense.
Huh. Yeah,
Indian
and
Defense or Space.
as Prince mentioned, that is true. Once you go there for MS, you spend a lot of money, and somehow you want to recover that money and then come back. But I think once you start earning there, it becomes difficult to come back in India. So
Yeah.
actually, I don't know. That is my observation that people who start earning there, mostly they don't come back. So I am not sure how things will work out for you if you go there for a MS. So Navneet is a very good student, Prince. We want to keep him in India. Please don't give him any other hopes.
For sure.
Sorry to tell you this, Navneet.
Thank you, ma'am.
Devanshi, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask if I want to pursue MS, what are like the must-have languages I should know before coding
Languages
language,
in
I mean.
terms of coding, right?
Yeah.
You can focus on just one language and be good at it in terms of data structures and algorithms, uh, be it Java, C++, or Python. I mean, these are the three languages that mostly the industry looks for. Uh, Now, like the industry is shifting towards Golang. Let's say if you are applying to Google, if and you're coding in Java, they won't look down upon you. But if you code in Golang, they'll be like, okay, this guy does not need this much training to bring you up to speed with all the web infrastructure that we have already built. So if you're new to coding and you want to learn on something new, I'd say Golang would be a good option to go to, or Python. With Python, it opens up a lot of opportunities when it comes to data science, data analytics, because most of the data science and data analytics frameworks are based on Python. So you can like go ahead and learn with TensorFlow, scikit-learn, XGBoost. There are so many that are based on Python. So Python also could be one of them. But no matter what you choose, make sure that you can at least uh, say uh, basic data structures and algorithms should be very strong using that particular coding language. And something that could help would be lead code, uh, just to like start solving and see where you stand in terms of data structures.
Okay. Thank you.
I think we are done with the questions. I would now like to like Shaunak to continue from here. And thank you so much for taking out time and having this conversation with us. And it was wonderful interacting with you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Meenal. It was my pleasure interacting with all of you. Beautiful questions. Thank you so much, Anita ma'am, for organizing this.
Yeah, thank you, dear. So, Shaunak, who is going to say?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Minal, for the questions. That was a really informative session, sir. Thank you for answering the student queries. You helped us to gain great insights from your journey after BE and also few from the college. Your experiences and the way you communicated the information definitely made a great impact on us. I would like to thank you on behalf Alumni Committee 2021-22 for joining us today in this interview and sharing with us such skills and knowledge that you have acquired in this field. It's going to help all students in numerous ways in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shaunak.
Ma'am, you can stop the recording.
Yeah, thank you, Shaunak, for reminding that. I will stop the recording. Yes.
I'm just a
Huh.
minute.